It's time for Recipe of the Day. When I first tried baking shrimp in the oven, it was because I wanted a hands-off way to cook them. I was running around the house getting ready for a trip that we were leaving on early the next morning, and shrimp was on the meal plan. And so I was like, oh, hey, I'm going to throw them in some garlic butter and put them in the oven. And I was so delighted with them after. It turns out that much like when you poach shrimp, which you actually do by bringing water up to the boil and then taking it off the heat, and I will link in the show notes to how to poach shrimp in this way. But yeah, you bring the water up to the boil and then you take it off of the heat and then you add the shrimp to it and they cook really gently. You can actually even do this with frozen shrimp. I will link to the frozen shrimp recipe as well. But the idea is that the water is not super, super hot because it's cooled down by the addition of the shrimp. And so they're cooked more gently and they end up really plump and juicy and tender. And that's what happened here too. The oven is a less direct cooking method than like in a hot pan where the shrimp are directly against a really, really hot surface the whole time. And so they don't cook as fast and it's more gentle and they end up nice and plump and juicy and tender. So you have got to try this, whether because you want a hands-off way to make shrimp or because you just want to see how good they are. You are going to start by preheating the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and then you're going to slice a 1/4 cup of butter into little slices, and you're going to put that in a 9-by-11-inch baking dish and sprinkle a little bit of red pepper flakes in there if you want, a 1/4 teaspoon. That's optional though. And you're also adding 3 cloves of minced garlic over top of the butter slices. And then you put that into the oven while the oven's preheating or while it's finishing preheating. And that's going to melt the butter. And then once the butter's melted, have a look in there, give it a little stir, and then leave it in there for another 2 minutes. And that's so that the garlic is going to cook just a little bit and infuse the butter with its flavor. Then you take that baking dish out of the oven and you add 1.5 pounds of shrimp. They can be medium to large in size. You just want them to be peeled and deveined. I will just say also that I prefer to not have the tail on these because the tail is going to get coated in the butter as well and it's going to be messy to eat them, but that is up to you. They look nicer with the tail on, right? Okay, so you add the 1.5 pounds of shrimp to the baking dish and you sprinkle them with a teaspoon of salt and then just stir them all around, kind of flip them around for like 30 seconds to get them really coated in the butter. And then you put the baking dish back into the oven and you bake them until the shrimp are curled up a bit, pink and opaque. That's how you know they're cooked through. It's going to take about 10 to 12 minutes. I do like to give them a stir halfway through just to make sure that they're cooking more evenly. You know, some parts of the pan, like the edges, sometimes are hotter than the middle. So that's really what you want to do there. So after like 5-6 minutes, give them a stir and then continue to cook. It will take 10 to 12 minutes total. Then you take those out of the oven and you just do a little bit of lemon juice. It's a tablespoon for the whole batch. You can do less if you want more of the like garlic butter flavor, and you can do more if you like that brightness of the lemon. Either way is going to be good. And then you can sprinkle them with some parsley, or the other thing that I love to do is sprinkle them with already toasted panko breadcrumbs. I'll link to a recipe for those for you. Now, the reason you want to have them already toasted is if you put them on top of the shrimp while the shrimp are baking, it's not enough time in the oven for those breadcrumbs to toast in there at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So you'll just have like some pale breadcrumbs. They won't be that nice. So toast your breadcrumbs first and then sprinkle them on the shrimp. And I tend to toast my panko breadcrumbs in kind of a large batch and then keep a container of them in the freezer. So that is a great option. I don't know if you can hear what's going on here, but there's like a thunderstorm and somebody's mowing their lawn at the same time. So if you are hearing all of this noise, I am sorry, but thankfully I am done telling you about baking shrimp, so that noise will not continue for you, only for me, it seems. Okay, I will put the link to this recipe in the show notes for this podcast episode, or you can head to cookthestory.com/ROTD and get it there. Everything there is arranged by date, so it's helpful to know that today is August 26th of 2025. And I will just say, if you try this recipe, and you really, really should, if you try it and you love it, you need to come back and give it a 5-star rating and a comment. That will really help other people discover this amazing way of cooking shrimp. They'll see your comment, they'll want to try it, they'll see the 5-star rating when they're searching on Google, they'll click over, and then we all get to have better shrimp than ever, right? Thank you so much. If you've been commenting and rating my recipes already, you know I appreciate that so much. I'm Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookful.com, the all-new chicken cookbook, and from this podcast, Recipe of the Day. I hope you have a great day. Let's get cooking.